5 signs that you were born a clairvoyant. Do you have a second sight? Clairvoyance is not just hocus-pocus that describes crystal balls or reading from coffee grounds. If we don't take the term quite so narrowly, and above all ignore the false images that haunt our minds from movies and television, what remains is the definition: knowing, seeing, and hearing more than everyone else. Clairvoyance doesn't necessarily have to be a shady business that takes money out of the pockets of unsuspecting people in search of answers. Basically, each of us can carry the gift of second sight within us. However, we have to discover and accept it. Here's how you can recognize that you were born a clairvoyant. Number 1. Your dreams are extremely vivid and real. Clairvoyance triggers our subconscious and vice versa. Those who have second sight don't draw their knowledge from logic, reason, or rational conclusions, but from feelings and intuition. The best way to process information that we can't really grasp with our heads is through our dreams. They allow for all the colorful images that we would forbid ourselves during the day. People with a clairvoyant gift, therefore, have extremely realistic and colorful dreams. Not everything they see during their night's sleep always makes sense immediately, but sooner or later, it usually does. The dream sequences can show the past, present, and future, both their own and those of their fellow human beings. If you have second sight, you'll also make the acquaintance of lucid and clear dreams from time to time. Here, you knowingly take on an active role in the dream events and consciously intervene in them. Number 2. You often see optical phenomena for which there's no logical explanation. Clairvoyance means that sometimes things become visible that are not of this world. Flashes of light, wafts of mist, people's auras, or reflections in the air and water are all part of this. Such visual occurrences are not uncommon, even if other people can't perceive them. The spiritual world is not entirely in agreement as to whether these phenomena are messages from the spirit world, from the higher powers, or simply indications and warnings. Of course, they could also be signs that someone from the afterlife has dared to make the leap into our world. The second sight doesn't always mean that the messages it receives are unambiguous. Sometimes, simple confirmations are enough, symbolizing the okay of our spiritual guides that we are on the right path. Number 3. During the day, your thoughts tend to drift off into higher spheres. The conscious and subconscious minds of clairvoyant people are not as strictly separated as the rest of us. They sometimes blur together and allow for fluid boundaries. What are vivid dream scenarios at night are manifested during the day as intense castle building and uninhibited wandering of one's own thoughts. However, they're not sent on this journey for no reason. In most cases, the subconscious knows exactly where it needs to receive a message or gather new information. Wherever the thoughts of modern clairvoyants end up, they don't do this for nothing or for no reason. The images that arise in their heads almost always contain a message. Sometimes it's future events that are announced in this way, but sometimes it's just impressions from conversations or encounters that need to be processed. Number 4. Your intuition for people and animals never deceives you. When we talk about modern clairvoyance, we should not imagine old women with wildly patterned headscarves in a caravan. In our modern, fast-paced world, the second sight often shows itself in the form of pronounced empathy, a strong intuition, and the ability to read between the lines when talking to others. The fine antennae that these people need to do this require a great deal of strength. They quickly feel exhausted when dealing with others and pay a considerable price for their special gift. Basically, anyone can boast of being clairvoyant if they have a good sense of people, animals, and nature. This intuitive understanding is the key to life as an empath, healer, or even a modern clairvoyant. Number 5. You had at least one imaginary friend as a child. Experts estimate that around a third of all children have one or more imaginary friends by their side at certain stages of their lives. These can take human form, but can also be animals or mythical creatures. However, they all have one thing in common: no one can see them except the child. These special friendships are no cause for concern, but rather help children to cope better with challenging or irritating times. If you also had an imaginary friend or an invisible friend by your side as a child, there's a good chance that you have psychic potential. Anyone who's receptive to the vibrations in their environment as a child will continue to develop this ability over the years. Fantasy friends come and go, but the knowledge that there is more to this world that meets the eye remains. If we're lucky, the invisible playmates of childhood become a wise inner voice and a direct line to our higher self. This gift also comes with responsibility. Keep the assumption that you're a clairvoyant to yourself. Most people don't think of this as a particularly strong intuition or keen powers of observation. In this context, they still see the rip-off and taking advantage of the gullible, but not what empathy and a feeling for one's fellow human beings can achieve. Clairvoyance is a dying art. Most people refuse to believe that they have such a gift. However, if it makes its way into the light, it comes with great responsibility. Knowing more than the rest of the world can be more of a curse than a blessing if we don't learn how to use this knowledge in time. Guard it like a treasure. You may be able to foresee things, but you must never influence their course or even manipulate fate.